Welcome to the History AI podcast, where the past comes alive with facts, anecdotes, and a dash of humor. Here are your hosts, Chuck and Marco.
Welcome back to another episode of the History AI podcast. I'm your host, Chuck.
And I'm Marco. Hey Chuck, you know who could march 30 miles in a single day and still throw a fabulous party by evening?
A Prussian with style?
Ha! You got it. Today, we're diving deep into the life and times of Friedrich Wilhelm von Steuben, a man who shaped military history, and not just for the Prussians.
Baron von Steuben. The Prussian drill master who whipped the American troops into shape. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's start from the beginning, shall we?
Absolutely. Born in 1730 in Magdeburg, Prussia, Friedrich hailed from a military family. His father, Wilhelm Augustin von Steuben, was a royal Prussian engineer. Clearly, military discipline ran in the blood.
And it wasn't just discipline, Marco. The family also had a touch of nobility. But interestingly, Steuben himself didn't always flaunt the Baron title. Some records suggest he adopted it when he came to America.
Speaking of coming to America, we'll get there. But first, let's talk about his early military career.
Right. At the tender age of 17, young Friedrich joined the Prussian Army, serving as a second lieutenant during the War of Austrian Succession. It was during this time that he caught the eye of Frederick the Great, arguably the most significant king in Prussian history.
Oh, and let's not forget that Frederick the Great was known for his meticulous military standards. Being noticed by him was no small feat. It's like being an artist and having Picasso say, "Hey, nice brushwork."
Spot on, Marco. Steuben went on to serve on Frederick's general staff. That's basically like being in the C-suite of the 18th century military world. But as fate would have it, he was accused of having improper relationships and was forced to leave.
This was a period where rumors and politics often overshadowed truth. After this, he had a brief stint in the armies of France and Austria. It's like switching from Coke to Pepsi and then trying out Dr. Pepper.
Love the analogy, Marco. But his greatest adventure awaited him across the Atlantic, in the budding colonies of America.
But before we set sail, let's take a brief break for a word from our sponsor.
When the world hits hard, hit back harder with Strike Force Energy. The zero sugar, zero calorie, power-packed energy drink additive that fuels your adventure. Just a quick squeeze turns any drink into a relentless power source. Perfect for your workout, your hike, your life. Ready to strike? Visit StrikeForceEnergy.com, use coupon code UTSALAX24 for an explosive 20% off your order. Strike Force Energy, unleash your potential. Strike Force Energy, fuel the fight within you.
Welcome back. Now, where were we? Yes, sailing to America. So Steuben was introduced to Benjamin Franklin in 1777, while in France.
Yep, and with a glowing letter of recommendation from Franklin. Seriously, if LinkedIn existed back then, Steuben's profile would be lit. He made his way to the colonies to aid the struggling Continental Army.
And boy, did they need help. Think of the Continental Army as a startup with potential but lacking some serious discipline and order. Steuben was like the seasoned executive they needed.
And you know what he did first? He wrote a manual. Regulations for the order and discipline of the troops of the United States. Catchy title, huh?
It was more than just a manual, Marco. With it, Steuben transformed a ragtag group into a formidable army. He introduced standardized drills and practices, ensuring everyone was on the same page, literally and figuratively.
Can you imagine the difference? Before Steuben, all right guys, do something. After Steuben, synchronize your watches, and let's march.
Exactly. His influence didn't stop there. The training regimen he instated is credited with the improved performance of American troops in battles such as Monmouth and even Yorktown.
Which brings us to his lasting legacy. While he might not be a household name like Washington or Jefferson, his contributions to military discipline and training are still felt today.
That's right. If you've been to any military academy or even just seen a precise military drill, you're witnessing echoes of Steuben's legacy.
In the end, after the war, Steuben became an American citizen, and he spent his last years in New York. He passed away in 1794, leaving behind a legacy of discipline, order, and yes, fabulous Prussian flair.
And with that, we wrap up today's episode. Remember folks, next time you're in a pickle trying to organize anything, ask yourself, what would Steuben do?
And the answer probably is, write a manual.
Thanks for tuning in folks. This has been the History AI Podcast. I'm Chuck.
And I'm Marco. Until next time, keep marching forward.